There is no shortage of books in the world that seek to enthrall the reader with fantastical stories of supernatural beings. These books are widely regarded as fairy tales for the entertainment of small children. But, on rare occasion, one might discover a book which emphatically insists that the beings from these stories are not inventions of human imagination, but truly did exist. This type of book, often at the cost of the author's credibility and reputation, makes the outlandish claim that mankind once shared the world with a wide variety of supernatural creatures who existed in significant numbers. However, these creatures could only subsist on human flesh, making coexistence impossible. Thus, the creatures were hunted down, nearly to complete extinction. Because these supernatural creatures disintegrated upon death, no credible physical evidence of their existence remains, aside from a small number of contemporary paintings that allegedly depict these creatures, and written accounts of supposed encounters with these creatures, all of which have long been debunked and discredited by academic communities. And yet, despite the dubious nature of these claims, there are those who choose to believe them. Occult researchers, existing in small numbers, shunned by the rest of society, dedicate their lives to seeking empirical evidence of demons, ghosts, succubi, vampires, zombies, and any other type of supernatural being that is regarded as fictional by the rest of society. According to the legends that these researchers believe, these supernatural beings posed such a threat to mankind that grand academies were built to teach young men and women the skills they would need to slay monsters, including, by some accounts, actual magic spells. As usual, there is no physical evidence to support the notion that these monster slayer academies truly existed. Supposedly, Japan was once terrorized by paranormal beasts known as Oni until the 1800s, when a pair of elite monster slayers from the West arrived in Japan through supernatural means and became almost single-handedly responsible for wiping out the entire monster population. This claim is not taken seriously by the occult research community, who have found countless holes in the story. Regardless of what is true or untrue, there is a portion of the population, however small, who remains convinced that supernatural creatures not only exist, but sometimes walk among us, masquerading as humans. Succubi and vampires, the most humanoid of all supernatural beings, have the highest chance of escaping notice, if one chooses to believe in such things in the first place. It is said that the only way to identify a non-human is to examine their pupils for unusual shapes. But, with the rising popularity of Seiku brand cosmetic contact lenses, it is increasingly common for people to display unusually shaped pupils, thus making it unconventional to attempt to identify a supernatural being by simply pointing out the shape of a person's pupils. Supernatural beings do not show signs of aging after reaching maturity. If a person does not appear to age a day over the course of multiple decades, this could be seen as strong evidence that they are not human. Consequently, any supernatural being that is living in human society while masquerading as a human usually does not stay in one place for an extended period of time. However, there are exceptions. Occasionally, a supernatural being will find a place in the world where they feel so comfortable that they don't want to leave, despite the risk of eventually being identified as a non-human. These beings are usually benign, capable of subsisting without taking human life or causing harm to humans, and thus able to survive in human society without issue. And then, of course, there are even rarer exceptions, beings who possess the ability to use magic to charm humans into thinking, there's absolutely nothing weird about the fact that the lady who runs the ramen restaurant has remained the same age for the past 40 years. Nothing weird at all. She probably just dyes her hair and has an excellent skincare routine. Even rarer still are the beings who openly demonstrate their magic to humans, and yet are never identified as non-human. After all, can you really prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, that the ramen you got from that mysterious lady is what gave you a dream where you saw the memories of your ancestors? No, you can't. There isn't any empirical evidence, and that's why Bankotsuko has managed to live for 1,525 years without being identified as a non-human.